Hello and welcome, it's Chris from Christopher Hall Training, and welcome to this week's tutorial where we're going to be asking and answering the question, should you be strengthening your lower back muscles with back extensions? Now we're going to be looking at the back extension exercise, and we're going to be looking at what it does to your body, and we're going to look at some alternatives that you can use in its place as well. But before we get into that, I quickly just want to mention my social media, which you can see at the top right hand corner of the screen here. So you've got Twitter, Facebook, Instagram and YouTube. So first of all, please do subscribe to this channel if you're watching on YouTube. Please do come along to the Facebook page, like the page on there, follow on Instagram, follow on Twitter. It'd be great to have you on all of those. Also, please do comment below on the YouTube video if anything you've learned, anything you found interesting, or any questions that you may have about the content in this tutorial. Alternatively, if you look at the bottom of the screen, you'll see a URL that goes straight through to my newsletter. That link is in the description. So if you like what you hear in this tutorial, I put on newsletter exclusive tutorials plus some other content on there as well, which will be relevant to the tutorial based on back pain, core strength and posture. So if you think you'll find that interesting, please do go along to that URL and sign up to the monthly newsletter. So back we come to this week's topic, which is all about lower back muscles and the back extension. So to start us off, we're going to talk a little bit about some anatomy. So we've got a couple of muscles of the lower back. You've got the longissimus and you've got the iliocostalis. Now, these muscles are used in the back extension, and they're obviously used, or different portions of them are used. So you can see there are there's certainly to the iliocostalis, there is a sort of a lower back portion to it. And then it sort of splits into the mid to upper back portion of it. And in some respects, that's the same with the longissimus. So those are the muscles that we're talking about. These are a part of the erector spinae group. And essentially, they join your lower back all the way up, your ribs and your spine up into the neck as well. So these are the muscles that we're talking about, and this is what we are doing with these muscles. So when we are talking about back extension exercises, we're talking about exercises that are either done on the sort of rack you can see in the top picture, where your sort of hips are leaning onto a cushioned part of the rack, and then you bend forward over the rack. Or you've got the exercise where you're led on the floor and you're lifting your chest from the floor, extending your back. So those are the two exercises that we're talking about. Now, these two exercises put 4,000 and 6,000 newtons of compression around the spine. Now, what that basically means is if you look at the picture with the sponge, that's what those muscles, so the iliocostalis and the longissimus, they are essentially squeezing and squashing your spine from the left and from the right. So that is 4,000 and 6,000 newtons of compression. So essentially, those muscles are the hand, the sponge is your spine, and that's what those muscles are doing to your spine. They're just compressing around it. Now, those are the equivalent of 400 to 600 kilos of compression. Now, that doesn't mean that you're putting 600 kilos onto your spine, but it's 600 kilos of compression around your spine. So when we are talking about these exercises, they're putting a whole lot of pressure on your spine. Now, we can't get those pressures to zero. That's not the point of strengthening the lower back muscles. It's just about minimizing it, because if we put excess stress on the spine, then it's going to be faster to fatigue and then faster to create pain again. So these types of exercises are putting excessive amounts or unnecessary amounts of stress on the spine and speeding up or contributing to future, let's just say, back pain, if you will. It's not a direct cause, but if you are using and misusing your spine incorrectly every day, then you want to be minimizing the stresses on the spine, i.e. trying to minimize the amount of stress that you put on them during exercise. So what we're going to look at next are some slightly more therapeutic ways of doing that. So now we're going to start talking about some more sort of, let's just say, therapeutic exercises. So we've still got those pictures of the longissimus and the iliocostalis because we are still going to be using those muscles. But what we're going to talk about is the bird dog. Now, this exercise, because we are using the one leg on one side and the opposite arm, we are reducing the amount of stress to the spine. So as you can see here, it's half that of the back extension where you're lifting your chest off the floor. So when you lift your chest off the floor, that's the 6,000 newtons of compression. So we can half that by using the bird dog. So this gives you a little bit more bang for your buck. It activates the muscles that we want to be active, the iliocostalis and the longissimus, but it reduces and minimizes the stress around the spine. What we also have is the plank and the side plank, because when we have active and let's just say strong, it's not necessarily the right word, but when we have active abdominal muscles, so the abdominal wall, the rectus abdominis at the middle, and the obliques at the side, our spine is able to tolerate greater loads. So by using the bird dog, we minimize stress directly to the muscles of the spine. When we use the plank and the side plank, as long as we are activating those muscles and keeping them active, that can then allow our spine to take more compressive load. So what we're trying to do is not necessarily strengthen the lower back muscles, the iliocostalis and the longissimus, because that's more of a bodybuilding technique, which isn't a rehabilitation or therapeutic technique. That's a bodybuilding technique. If you want to strengthen a muscle, do those exercises and those muscles will get stronger. But if we want a better back, we don't necessarily want to be strengthening those muscles. We want to be activating them and creating a robust core, i.e. muscles of the spine and then abdominal wall, the obliques and the rectus abdominis, to be active at the right times and in the right way so we can reduce the stress to the spine. Because, as I've always said, there are plenty of strong people out there with bad backs. So if you are not necessarily a strong person, it doesn't really matter how strong you get, you are still vulnerable to a bad back, because I guarantee there are stronger people out there that have a bad back. So what we've got to do is we got to create resilience and robustness to the core, get the muscles working at the right time and in the right way to reduce the stress directly to the spine and spread it around the torso so it can manage and it can help with improving the health of our back and the health of our spine. So hopefully that gives you a better idea of what core training and therapeutic back training should be looking like. Again, if you want to get more information like this, come along to the newsletter, pop your name and email address in, and I'll be sending you that every single month. There is exclusive content on there, and there will be relevant recent content and exercises on there to help you apply what you're learning in that tutorial. Also, do come along to Facebook. It'd be great to have you on there. Please do like the page. Again, comment below questions, comments of things you've learned or things you've enjoyed about the video. It'd be great to have you there, and please do subscribe to the channel. So many thanks for watching. My name is Chris from Christopher Holt Training. I will speak to you in next week's tutorial.